Yo, what is good? Welcome on in to day 2, rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL Draft Philadelphia Eagles watch party. We are here on A to Z Philly. Back at it again, man. Long one last night, a lot of fun. 2 huge picks by Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles. RB back bringing you another one from the link. The second round is underway. It's already a ton of madness. And we're going to be breaking it all down. The Eagles coming up at pick 62 and pick 66 here tonight. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome on in. Eagle Nation, how are we feeling? How are we feeling? Let me know how we're sounding in the chat. I know we're a little bit late, but hey, man, nothing too crazy happening at the moment. I was trying to keep up with all the other trades going on with some of these other teams, but yeah, man, it's been a long weekend so far, but here we are. Here we are. Hope everybody is enjoying their Friday night. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. Welcome on in, man. Let's shout out some people in the chat. We got Shirley up in here. What's up? We got Chris Moore. We got Jamie Slack. Stink. What's up? Frankie. Michael. We got Sean Quigg. Says sounds good. What's up, Sean? Welcome on in to the show. Thank you all for being here as we will await to see what the Philadelphia Eagles do at pick 62. And if you're watching here on YouTube and Facebook, you can see the video here. This was earlier today as the newest member of the Eagles, Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, the 2 Georgia Bulldogs, were entered into the facility. They have arrived in Philadelphia. And I just can't stop thinking about it, especially last night after the show. You add these 2 pieces to what the Eagles have in the mix. You add these 2 guys in there? Are you kidding? Man, oh man. This defense is going to be special. And they have some protection here for beyond next year. BG, Fletch, maybe leave. You have these guys to step right in. I am pumped. I am pumped. What will the Philadelphia Eagles do here on day 2? They have 2 picks. They had the 94th overall pick. They moved up yesterday as a result of the Jonathan Gannon situation, tampering, and they settled something with the Arizona Cardinals where they were able to trade up to 66. So really the Eagles can do a lot here. They could move back and acquire a lot more picks. They could, move up. They could go and use both of these to move up. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. We're at pick number 45 right now. And the Detroit Lions are on the board. So we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. What are the Eagles' biggest areas of need? What is the biggest need to address here on day 2? Where do you guys think they will go? I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing another big time, school picked, right? I wouldn't mind seeing another guy from Georgia or Alabama or school like that. I wouldn't mind it at all. There's still a lot of good players on the board, man. Day 2 is nothing to be ashamed of. Day 2 is nothing to be ashamed of. There are still a lot of good players. You look around the league. Obviously, it's a hard profession in itself. Even a lot of the day 1 guys don't end up making it. But when you look at day 2, there's still a lot of good players out there that end up earning big contracts and having long, successful careers. And you get one of these guys in the top 50, 60, 70, they could end up being a player. Even the late round guys, But the Eagles have these 2 picks, and then they don't pick until the 7th round. So these 2 are going to be key. They definitely want to get some more playmakers on this defense, I would assume. I mean, their team is pretty much stacked in itself. It's well-rounded at this point. But could they add a little bit more? I'm looking at maybe secondary here today. Definitely think they'll take somebody, or at least look into the secondary. Maybe they look at a running back. Hey, you never know. They were talking about Bijan yesterday, of course. Maybe they look at some more offensive line depth, or maybe Howie just Howies it and he goes with another defensive lineman. Who knows? Who knows? It's going to be interesting to see what they do here. Now, the second round started off very interesting because Will Levis finally got selected. The Tennessee Titans moved up the board and traded up to get him. So I'm happy for him. At least he's finally done because, let's keep it honest, he was embarrassed yesterday. He was pretty embarrassed yesterday. Here's Roger Goodell announcing the Lions pick. Well, there goes Brian Branch off the board, guys. Brian Branch at number 45 is off the board. That is one of the guys I really liked coming into this draft. Thought he would probably get picked at the end of the first round, maybe early second, but he goes 13 deep into the second. I'm surprised they picked him. You know, they just picked up C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And I don't know. It's interesting. Could the Philadelphia Eagles also make a day 2 trade? There's been a lot of talk, surrounding some of these pieces. I see my guy Cube in the chat. He says, let's trade for Budda Baker. That would be my number one thing. If the Eagles could find a way to get Budda Baker, I don't know if they can. It's definitely hard from a cap, perspective. But if they could find a way to get a Budda Baker and shore up the back end of that defense, put a guy like that in between Darius Slay and James Bradbury, this Eagles defense would not be fair. They would not be fair. I wish they could have kept C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Obviously, for lack of a better word, and to be kind, he kind of botched the advice that he received or whatever he got from his representation. They did not do him right. They did not do him right. And he should have stayed with the Philadelphia Eagles and bet on himself. If he was going to take a 1-year deal, but he did not. And now he's with the Detroit Lions, who, they have a pretty good roster. They'll probably make the playoffs. But, he could have had a chance of going back to the Super Bowl. So will Howie Roseman go out and make a potential trade for a Budda Baker? What if he went out and traded for a running back that's been out there? They're even talking about the Lions. They're talking about DeAndre Swift. Could Swift be on the move after they took Jahmyr Gibbs yesterday? That was a reach, man. I saw something about the Detroit Lions picks yesterday, and they were saying that both of the guys they picked, both Jahmyr Gibbs and Zach Campbell, they weren't even projected to go anywhere near where they went. They were saying the Lions took a major L yesterday. So could the Eagles get a guy like DeAndre Swift? You never know, man. This is a much better pick, though, for the Lions. Brian Branch, 45th overall to Detroit. Now, here is footage of Nolan Smith last night dapping up Nakobe Dean at his draft party. Nakobe Dean was at the draft party of Nolan Smith, so seeing them get the team up right then and there was just incredible. I mean, that's awesome. That is awesome. And I really like Nolan Smith's energy. I heard the phone call between him and Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni. He essentially said, yo, you like the win? I'm coming in. Well, I'm not soft. I'm ready to rock. So great job by the Philadelphia Eagles. I still can't believe that they ended the night with both Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter. To pair them up with Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean, it's insane. Last night feels like I was in the Matrix. Now, Nolan Smith commented on Jalen Carter because there was a lot going on with Eagles media last night. And here's what Nolan Smith had to say about the character of Jalen Carter. Quote, I always stood up for him because I know that's not him. I know Jalen. I know JC. I don't call him Jalen. I call him JC88. JC is one of those guys you can really count on, not only to do his job, but he'll do his job plus more and then come dap you up. Everything that I saw, Jalen Carter seems like a good dude, man. I know he was in a bad situation, and obviously he'll have to learn from his mistakes, but he seems ready to go. He seems prepared. He seems excited. And he just seems like he's going to fit right in with this defensive line. So I am ready, man. I am ready. Here's what Howie Roseman has done, by the way. Last 10 top 100 picks in the NFL draft in the past 3 years. Look at this. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, A.J. Brown, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, and Nolan Smith. That is insane. Howie's on a different level, man. He's on a different trajectory, I'm telling you. He's on a different trajectory. Absolutely unbelievable job by Howie Roseman. There's nothing to complain about. This Eagles team is coming in as one of the most polished teams in the NFL. And that's not always easy to do when you go to a Super Bowl and you lose pieces. Howie has had a fantastic offseason, and there's still a lot of time to get better. So I'm really excited to have the two Georgia guys. As I talked about pre-draft, it's very hard to gauge some of these players. This is why, if I do pre-draft work for a certain player, I got to take it with a grain of salt because there's so many guys across the FBS and, there are just so many different programs and levels. And I just like to look at the guy's characteristics and his mentality and how he approaches. And the Philadelphia Eagles do not like to go with guys who are troubled locker room players, guys that are going to be an issue beyond the football field. So I trust the organization that they have done their due diligence on Jalen Carter. I think he's going to be a great player, and I think he's coming into the right situation. He's coming into a team that is ready to win, that has veterans who have done it for a long time at a high level and will be great mentors to him at his position. So to be quite honest with you, I think this was the perfect night for Jalen Carter, and I think he's going to be a monster from day one. Yes, from week one. And I think Nolan Smith is going to fit right in. I love that kid's energy. I love his energy. I still don't know why he slipped, maybe because of the injury. But, man, Eagles got two players last night. And that's all I could be happy about. It was the dream scenario. You only had to move up one slot and give up a 4th-round pick to get the two of them. Kevin in the chat says, everyone makes mistakes. Hopefully he will learn. Sean says, the sad part is he did not, his teammate, the drunk staffer who was driving the other car, killed him. He was not in the vehicle. He was racing. He paid his punishment. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He did not physically do it himself. He was involved in a tragic situation, but, obviously he has to take accountability from that situation. You never know what he was doing that night, et cetera, et cetera. They're obviously celebrating the parade after they won the championship. But at the end of the day, he did, pay his dues per se. I think he got some hours of probation and he paid a fine. And, according to what I've heard and read, he owned up and paid up to what he had to. And he was there. He, held himself responsible at the scene. And it's a tough situation. But as Sean said, he was not directly responsible for what had happened. So hopefully he won't have any issues. Hopefully things will go well. And, he comes from a good program, man. So we will see. A.J. Brown wasn't drafted by Philly like your board says, bro. So this is a tweet, and they should have worded it better. They said Eagles' last 10 top 100 picks. Essentially what they meant is the pick that they traded turned into A.J. Brown. Essentially what they meant is that this pick turned into A.J. Brown. Then they drafted Jordan Davis. So they could have worded it a little bit better, but with the last with the last 10 top 100 picks, these are the players that the Eagles landed on, which is insane. Howie Roseman, I'm telling you guys, it's a level of motivation. Like when you do something and then you have all of these people telling you that it was a fluke and you're a nobody and you can't do it again and it was a one-time thing. At some point, it's hit you down deep. That motivation's like, okay, let me prove you wrong again. Howie's taking it to a different level, though. I don't know if I've ever seen in a 2-year span the level of success on certain moves that Howie Roseman has had. I mean, you go back to last offseason after the Eagles were demolished by the Buccaneers in that playoff game, and think about every move from then up until now. It's historic stuff, I'm being honest with you. And I'm not just trying to sound like, oh, a homer, an Eagle guy. Like everything's all pretty and perfect. Not everything is perfect, but you saw what the Eagles did this past year, and Jalen Hurts is only going to get better. He's still very young. The Eagles' core is going to mesh better. They picked up some good pieces. Now they have these young guys. I really think that they're going to come in as one of the favorites this year. But it is always tough to try to, keep those expectations in check. What I did like about the Eagles last year is that they didn't have any egos. Now they're going to have to keep that in check this year, and they're going to have high expectations to live up to. So we'll see what they can do. Now, Cody Mouch just got picked from North Dakota State. He was one of the guys I definitely had on my top 5, top 7 available. He was an offensive lineman. Set school records for TD receptions and sacks back in high school. They talked about this guy a lot. I'm going to talk about my top available. Let me know what you guys think the Eagles should do here on day 2. Give me some thoughts. Let's see. Jermaine says, Josie went from hated to loved by Philly fans. Hey, you play hard, you come in, you work hard. The fans are going to love you. The fans are going to love you. So right now we are on pick 49. I figure we'll run through the Eagles' 2 picks. And then, we'll see what happens from there. Maybe the Eagles will trade up, trade back. Who knows? But definitely want to capture our reactions live here on day 2. And I want to talk about some of the people that I'm still looking at that probably will be available. This guy right here, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I have a feeling he's going to be an Eagle later in this draft. I could see the Eagles trading up from one of those 7th round picks, maybe to the 6th or 5th, if they have to, and trying to get DTR. He's been, on their radar for a while, and I do think Howie will try to target another quarterback here in the draft. Obviously, they signed Mariota, who I think will be a good backup, but I do think this guy's been on their radar heavily. But in terms of the 2nd and 3rd round, in terms of pick 62 and 66, who should the Eagles go after? So if we go to the secondary, obviously Brian Branch is off the board. I actually really like Antonio Johnson out of Texas A&M. It says he's the 6th ranked safety here in the draft. But I like him. He's a guy you can move around. And as it says here, he played a high percentage of snaps as the big nickel for Texas A&M, and he's the most effective play near the line of scrimmage. So I think he would fit well into the Eagles' defensive scheme. He's a threat to get to the quarterback when he blitzes. He's an aggressive run defender who slips blocks, takes sound angles, and has excellent tackling form. All things that the Philadelphia Eagles need. He's been on my board as maybe a 2nd or 3rd round pick. So keep your eye on Antonio Johnson. Also, cornerback, guy that's been talked about heavily, Kelee Ringo, who is still available. Guess what? Another Georgia Bulldog. Could the Eagles come out here and take Ringo here on day 2? All I've heard is good things about this kid. The mentality, the way he plays. And, hey, obviously they brought back Slay and Bradbury, but maybe Ringo could be the guy that you help develop here. And he's played a lot of good receivers, and he showed up. So keep your eyes on Ringo as well here in the 2nd, 3rd round. Also, could they take a running back? Again, when you get to these mid rounds, usually the philosophy is if there's a guy there that you didn't expect to fall, you go take him. And Howie has embraced that, philosophy over the last couple years. So if there's a guy here that is still available at 62, maybe you take him if he's high on your draft board. But how about Zach Charbonnet? They've talked about him as well out of UCLA. Could they draft a running back? I wouldn't put it past Howie Roseman. Obviously, you have Gainwell, you have Scott, you have Penny, you have all these guys, but you never know. You never know. Shout out to Howard Cook in the chat. What's up, Howard? Says, you have my attention. Long live an Eagles dynasty. Let's do it. Let's do it. So keep your eyes on Charbonnet as well. I like Charbonnet, Ringo, and I also like Antonio Johnson. Could they go wide receiver? Marvin Mims is still on the board. Hopefully he wouldn't have similar comments to his older brother, Denzel Mims, if you remember what he said a couple years ago. Cedric Tillman still on the board. A couple guys out of Tennessee. What do you guys think? What positional group should the Eagles target here on day 2? I think it's too high for a linebacker. And usually Howie Roseman likes to find those guys near the tail end of the draft or undrafted. I don't think he'll go with linebacker. I could definitely see him getting more trench depth, though. I could definitely see him going back into the trenches. He is never afraid, as some of the wise coaches say, you can never have too many tackles or you can never have too many guys up front. So we'll see, man. Steelers on the board at 49. And the pick is Keanu Benton, D tackle out of Wisconsin. Okay. Give me all your thoughts in the chat, guys. Let's see. Sean says first 47 picks from big schools only, first time ever. That's the way to go, man. And it's not a knock on, some of these other players or, what they do, but it's just when you go to the big schools, these guys transform into grown men. They're with the best coaches, with the best training staffs, and they just have the resources. They're in the big games. You can see what they really can do against a lot of other potential NFL talent. So this was always a criticism of Howie, and he has learned how to draft a lot better. And ever since he started doing this about 3 to 4 years ago, most of the picks he's landed on have turned out to be good players so far. So I like the idea. I do. Jermaine says, cornerback or safety the Eagles should go for. Tara Kane says we should go Ringo and another tight end in Washington. Georgia won both years playing with dual tight ends. We need that. Could you imagine all of Jalen's options? Tara, that's an underrated option there. That's an underrated idea. They could go tight end. They are not afraid to dabble into the tight end position. You saw it with Dallas Goedert years ago. Everybody was like, Zach Ertz is the guy. We all knew that. But they went and got Goddard, and look how that played out. Do not sleep on another tight end. I really think they're going to look at the best available and look at a couple positional groups, a secondary, running back, trenches, and maybe tight end. So, look, at the end of the day, these picks that get picked in the middle rounds, they're nice. It's good to see some of them, but everybody's got to earn it, right? I like the second round. I think the third round, you start getting the guys that get weeded out, but there's also a couple gems in there. Once you get to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, it's really a gamble. But some of those guys end up being the best players. It's really all about how you can translate. And that's why I don't look at this. I know it sounds bad, but I don't look at the NFL draft like I don't look at it similar to anything else. For example, when I'm watching the NBA draft, my eyes are locked in on every single pick. Now, the first round of the NFL draft, I'm locked in every single pick. But once you get past round 1, it's just there's a lot in the pool. So, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But whatever Howie Roseman does, I'm at the point of trusting his research and his pre-draft study. And as long as the Eagles get a couple pieces of need, it's very nice watching the draft knowing that your team is already complete. It's nice watching the draft knowing that your team is already primed for a Super Bowl potential run, or at least get into the playoffs, and you're already compact as a unit. So now you're just adding depth for the future. Here's pick 51 from the Miami Dolphins. Teron Armstead, 4-time Pro Bowler, announcing the pick. They really drag these out, don't they? Looks like it's raining there in KC. Cam Smith, a corner from South Carolina. Cam Smith from South Carolina going to the Miami Dolphins. Let's see. Woe says Jalen Hyatt, Marvin Mims, DJ Turner, Clark Phillips, Sidney Brown, and Jordan Battle. Those are the 6 from Woj. Tara says the level of transformation in the SEC is like no other. I agree 100%, Tara. I agree. JB says go with best player available. Woj says if they want tight end, Tucker Kraft from South Dakota State, Zach Kuntz from Old Dominion and Penn State. Hey, lot of players. A lot of players in the pool. A lot of players in the pool. Now, again, I know some of these players. I'm not going to act like I watch college football every single day that it's on or every, weekend, every game that's on, because there's just, again, so many players. But I obviously watch the bigger schools, and I do know some of the guys that are still available. But we'll just have to wait and see, man. I'm interested to see what the Eagles do if they keep both of the picks or if they move one back. I think it'll be interesting. Seattle pick is in. All right, I like this. I like this. Oh, the pick's already up here on the board. Zach Charbonnet is off the board, man. I don't like that pick. I like the fact that these picks are moving. So they lost Rashad Penny. The Eagles, now Charbonnet is off the board. So there goes one of the players I liked. We got to get this draft board off. There goes one of the guys I liked. So could the Eagles still go with a running back? Who knows? Jair Brown out of Penn State, maybe? Zach Charbonnet, nation's best running back. That's going to be a good value pick. That's going to be a good value pick right there. Who do you guys think has had the best draft so far? Who do you think has had maybe one of the worst drafts? Who have been the winners of this NFL draft? Chris's pick is in for the Bears. Pick is in. Let's see who they go with, man. Bears are going to be good. They've had a good offseason. They've really reshaped a lot. If you guys are in here right now, hit that like button. Thank you for being in the show. Let's keep it going, man. Let's see if we can get some information about what the Eagles are looking for right now. All right, so here's what Elliot Shore Parks put out a little while ago. It says current ranking of available safeties: Jamie Robinson, Jordan Battle, Antonio Johnson, Jair Brown. I think this is where the Eagles are going. I think this is where the Eagles are looking at. I would not be surprised at all if they go secondary. Obviously, you want to go best available, but this is the, I'd say the number one position in need right now, other than linebacker. Shout out to Green Bay for finally picking an offensive weapon, too, now that Rodgers is gone. I look at the Eagles secondary, obviously Slay Bradbury, but then you have, Edmonds, Reed Blankenship. They're going to have to address that. And, they have a lot of money allocated on the defensive side. So, they're going to have to find a couple guys, a couple diamonds in the rough. But they've done it before. Maybe a guy you draft here, you never know. Every team has to find some guys like that who come at a discount and provide more value than they're paid for. But looking at these guys right here, I'd be happy with any one of them. Corner, safety, versatile guys. I think this is where Howie's going to look. Woe says Eagles draft has been amazing. Lions made a lot of picks, but probably reached for all of them except for Brian Branch. Jermaine says secondary, definitely a big need right now. Josh says I'd take Brown if Robinson is not available. Woj says feels like a good DB spot. Plenty of quality options. We definitely need to fill our secondary. That's where I'm looking at. This is what I'm looking at right here. And these are some of the guys still available that the Eagles should have their eyes on. Would you guys ever go to an NFL draft outside like this? I like when it's inside, but I know there's like an inside part kind of, but I don't know. This one is kind of drawn out for me. This one is like a little bit too long to sit there. Here's Chicago. There's Devin Hester, one of the best kick returners of all time, if not the best. Jervon Dexter Sr., D tackle out of Florida. So another defensive lineman off the board. We are at pick 54. We are 8 away from the Philadelphia Eagles making their selection. Jamie says, in Howie we trust. Josh says, outside is a fun experience. Well, I've never been to the NFL draft, so I would not know. Still a lot of good talent on the board, man. Bet on Yourself says, what do you think Eagles will do? I think, personally, that they're going in the secondary. That would be my best guess. But usually when I make a prediction in the mid-rounds, it's never correct, and they go with the trenches. So maybe that's where they'll go. Maybe Howie's like, you know what? We're good. We'll find some dimes and dozens. We'll find a guy here and there. Maybe another guy gets cut in free agency. You never know. And maybe he just says, all right, we're going to take offensive line. That way, as more of these guys leave, as Kelsey probably retires, we just have a ton of guys to choose from. Sean says, Chargers pick is already in. Jamie says, I would go check out the vibes. Could always leave. I'm sure it'd be cool beforehand, like walking around, talking to different fans from different teams. We have our A to Z guys there right now in Kansas City getting a lot of coverage. If you guys have not checked out our Instagram and a bunch of other pages, we got a lot of coverage going up from the draft, actually. Dude, they love drawing out these picks, man. Josh says Kelsey retiring will be sad because nobody will replace him. It is unfortunate, but Juergens is a monster, and he's already shown he has, what it takes in his little experience. Chargers select Tui Pelotu. Look at that. Has a couple of family members in the NFL. Former players. USC. Defensive end. Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. It's crazy how some of these guys win these awards. See, there's just so much talent, man. Some of these guys win these awards and then, they go in the second or third round. But yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm ready to see who they get. Let's look at best available per ESPN. Let's see what they say. Obviously, Will Levis was picked earlier. Hendon Hooker still on the board. That's who they rank as best available. Darnell Washington. I'm surprised he's on the board still. I'm surprised he's still there. John Michael Schmitz. Jalen Hyatt. Couple Tennessee guys. There's Jair Brown right there. Looks like a lot of secondary guys still available, which is exactly what the Eagles need right now. So we'll see, man. We're at pick 55. Kansas City has the selection. Woj says, I can't believe nobody wants Jalen Hyatt. Bet on Yourself says, I like them to get a wide receiver Hyatt or Tank Dell. Yeah, another guy I've heard. Our guy, James Foss from A to Z Film Room, had Tank Dell going to the Philadelphia Eagles actually later on in the draft. I think it was in the third round he had him mocked to the Eagles. So Sean says Kelsey will end up being on the coaching staff when he finally retires. Need to keep him in the house. Kelsey's a lifer. He's a Philly for lifer, man. I can't even begin to put into words how incredible Jason Kelsey is for this franchise. I can't even begin to put it into words. Like, the day he stops playing football is going to be a really, really sad one. I mean, he's out there last night at the draft chugging beers. You see that video? He's just out there just going down. They said he was deleting beers. Kelsey is a man of the people. And you know what? I don't think he was going to come back this season. I think he was ready to hang it up. If the Eagles won, I think he was done. But he does his podcast with his brother. His brother has bragging rights. And I think he really believes the Eagles were this close. I think he believes they were that close. And he's like, you know what? Let me go out on a win. And he's coming back for one more hoorah. Same thing with all the other guys. BG, who took a little bit of a discount. Fletch, who took a bit of a discount. All these guys want to come back for one more run at it. And I like it, man. I like it. Now, I will say this. There was a conversation coming out today about Jonathan Gannon. Now, if you've heard about what's going on with Gannon, let me know your thoughts. Do you believe the article that was put out earlier today? I think it was by Marcus Hayes. Marcus Hayes put out an article saying that Jonathan Gannon essentially was just, hooting and hollering around, and he was all giddy after the Eagles lost the Super Bowl because it was in Arizona, and he got hired by the Arizona Cardinals. And they said that the whole tampering thing has pissed off the Eagles, and that Jonathan Gannon really kind of didn't care about the Super Bowl. Do you guys believe that at all? Because I can't really trust Marcus Hayes, if I'm being honest. That guy puts out a lot of stuff that I just look at, I'm like, what? So I don't know whether to believe it or not. But based on Gannon's comments last week, I will say, the fan base is not happy with him. JB says, one of the greatest Eagles ever, a center. Matter of fact, one of the best centers of all time is Kelsey, in my opinion. The way he's been able to revolutionize the position and show that you can be a little undersized and undermanned and still have a successful career. A late round pick who was supposed to amount to nothing. And what he has become here in the city of Philadelphia. Jason Kelsey is one of the best centers of all time. And the craziest part is that he was the best in the league last year. He's still doing it at a high level. His career has just been nuts. Bet on Yourself says, do you think Howie would take a quarterback Hendon Hooker if he's around? That's a good question. I would lean towards no. But then again, you can never put it past Howie. You can never put it past him. That would be something, though, if he went quarterback in the 3rd round. I hope he doesn't. Please don't do it again. Please don't do it again. Please don't do it again. Wait till the 6th round, get Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and call it a day. Get DTR. Get him. DTR, the guy you've been scouting for months. Has a lot of similarities to Jalen Hurts. A little bit bigger, but a lot of similarities. You could use him as a decoy. Don't take Hooker. I don't think that's the right pick. Especially a guy dealing with injuries. But all right, let's see who the Chiefs take here. And the pick is Rashee Rice out of SMU. 55 overall, Rashee Rice. And we are now 6 picks away from the Philadelphia Eagles' day 2 pick. Day 2 pick coming up in just 6 more. Who will be on the board? Who are the Eagles looking at? Who knows, man? Chicago is on the board. They got this pick via trade. Then you got the Giants and the Cowboys, so it'll be interesting to see who they get. Then Buffalo, then the Bengals, and then the Jags, and then the Eagles. Here they are talking to Will Levis. You know, I'm happy for Will Levis. That division is crazy, by the way. You look at the future quarterbacks in that division. Who is it? Trevor Lawrence. Now it's Will Levis, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. That's a crazy division, man. But, you know, I feel bad for the guy. I saw a stat, actually. It was pretty interesting. They said that they showed him 37 times on the broadcast yesterday. And, you know, that was way too much. They put way too much spotlight on him, and he probably felt terrible. And he didn't even stay for the draft today, which I wouldn't have either. But, you know, I'm glad he actually got picked early on, and we'll see how his career goes. All right, Tyreek Stevenson from Miami. A corner is off the board. So Keely Ringo is still there. Could this be the pick? I'm starting to think this could be the pick if he survives the next 5. I'm starting to think he could be the pick. I think Nick and Howie are just going to pick the whole Georgia team at this point. Jair Brown, obviously Penn State got the ties. Sidney Brown, Antonio Johnson might be a guy you could get with that 66 if you rank him there. They're still talking to Will Levis, man. Leave the guy alone. Leave the guy alone. Carlos Rosado, what's going on, man? Sean Quick says, if it was from any other report but him, I would believe it. Tara says, listen, I'm biased, but no. Leave Hendon Hooker and get Stetson Bennett if available for depth. He's so underrated. What do you guys think about Stetson Bennett? Another Georgia guy. Why not? Woe says, Hyatt's still being passed over. Sean says, that is a total read type of wide receiver right there. Jamie says, expect secondary or O-line. That's kind of where I'm thinking, Jamie. Especially now that Zach Charbonnet is off the board, I think that they're going to go in the secondary or in the trenches. But we'll see. Here's the Giants pick. John Michael Schmidt. So they go with a center out of Minnesota. Interesting. John Michael Schmidt's positional rank second. Schmidt's family has house rescue dogs for the last 32 years. I don't get why they keep showing this type of stuff on the draft. Like, this dude is a tank, man. So the Giants got Banks yesterday. They get John Michael Schmitz. Let's see who the Dallas Cowboys decide to go with. They got Mozzie Smith yesterday. Let's see what they say for biggest needs for Dallas. Best available, Hendon Hooker. Could the Cowboys go with a quarterback? Could they really do it? Wouldn't that be interesting? Name your top 6 remaining players. Eagles can get one or more of them. Hold up. The pick is in. Yo, they're flying with these picks now. They are flying right now. Oh my gosh. See, this is what there's no way this guy is screaming like this for Jerry Jones. The 5-time world champions. Yeah, okay, buddy. Why is this guy screaming like this? Luke Schoonmaker. Tight end from Michigan. Luke Schoonmaker. So they wanted their boy Kincaid yesterday. They got leaped for him by Buffalo. And now they take Luke Schoonmaker at the end of the second round. Third team all Big Ten. You know they wanted a tight end. They wanted one bad. They wanted one bad. So somebody asked me a couple of the players that I'm still looking at. So in terms of corner, I like Ringo a lot. That was one of my top guys coming in to today. Jair Brown. I like Antonio Johnson. Charbonnet got taken off the board. Mouch got taken off the board. So yeah, I'm really looking at secondary. I'm looking at these guys right here. These are the players that I want. So we'll see, man. I hope they go secondary. I hope they go secondary. Carlos says he's solid. He was a good tight end. Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see. Right now, what I'm really hoping for is one of these guys right here, Jair Brown or Ringo. That's who I would like. Or maybe Jordan Battle. Bring in one of the big names from the big schools. That's what I'm looking for right now. Why not? Why not? Still got some good wide receivers on the board as well. I would never put it past them to bring in a guy like that. Obviously, they got Alameda and they have Quez Watkins battling, but you can never have too many receivers for some depth. Woj says I'm looking at DJ Turner as well. Cedric Tillman, Marvin Mims. It was poetic that Buffalo jumped Dallas and took their pick. I love it. I love it. We'll see, man. Let's see who they have as best available overall. Could the Eagles really go with a tight end? It'd be interesting. There's Ringo, number 5 on this board right here. Number 5 on the board. Watch Howie trade both the picks as soon as we get there. Watch him trade both picks away. Carlos says, I think they go linebacker here, kid from Washington. Once again, shout out to everybody watching as well, man. Thank you all for tuning in. Day 2 NFL Draft Special. Eagles pick coming up in just a few. We are at pick number 59. So we'll see what the Eagles do at 62 and 66. Daniel says Howie uses the picks for Budda Baker. That's still my dream right there. That's still my dream. Or they get a running back like a DeAndre Swift, but we'll see. Woj says if the Eagles go wide receiver or corner at 62, one of the safeties is probably still there. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think these safeties are going to fall a little bit. I think they're still going to fall a little bit. Howie trades both picks for a top 5 pick in next year's draft. I think he's either going secondary or in the trenches. Christopher Smith's another guy from Georgia. I've heard he's a hard hitter and, you know, watch some of his film as well. Good, solid player. Like I said, just bring the whole Bulldogs team here at this point. They literally asked Jalen Carter earlier today in his presser. They said, which Georgia guy are we drafting next year? And they started laughing. There's the Buffalo draft room. Took an offensive player in the first round for the first time since 2018. Wow. Wow. Nothing will be better than David Akers coming out to announce the Eagles pick. That was amazing. This guy's really got a buffalo wing on his head. Bills were disappointing, man. They might have to shift some things because they can't get over that hump right now. They've been there. That playoff game against Kansas City might have been the last shot with the current core. Osiris Torrance from Florida, a guard. Alrighty, we are 2 more away from the Philadelphia Eagles. What will they do? What will they do? What will the Eagles do at number 62? Jamie says, I think Howie holds something over every GM in the league the way he fleeces them. Carlos says, I love these picks. They all play together. They know each other, and that helps out tremendously, especially Carter. Woj says, Florida guard is gone. I don't think any offensive linemen are worth taking here now. It's a good point. I think they're going secondary. I mean, that would be my prediction. Yeah, I think they're going secondary. DJ Turner, a corner out of Michigan. There's one of the guys off the board. DJ Turner to the Bengals. He was one of them. He was one of the guys still near the top of the board. He is off. He is off. Now, will it be Jalen Hyatt or will it be Keely Ringo? Those will probably be my top two right now. Jair Brown, Jalen Hyatt, or Keely Ringo. Or if you want to mess around and get another Alabama guy, get Jordan Battle. Why not? That's where I'm looking right now. 2 more to go, guys. 1 more than the Eagles. Let me tell you guys real quick about BetMGM. Shout out to our sponsor of tonight's draft show here, A to Z Philly, live on all platforms. Be sure to check us out everywhere. Shout out to BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet when you register. With BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Pennsylvania only. New customer offer. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Shout out to BetMGM. Go get your bets on, man. You could probably go and look at the Philadelphia Eagles as the favorite for next year, honestly. Jalen Hurts, MVP, maybe. So close this year, man. So close. Guys, be sure to hit that like button wherever you are watching. Whatever platform you're tuned in on, welcome in. NFL Draft Special, A to Z Philly. Where do we think the Eagles are going at pick number 62? The Jags pick is in. 1 more, and then it's the Eagles' turn. Will they go safety? Will they go corner? Will they go running back? Will they go trenches? What do you guys think? Carlos says we're not going to O-line in the draft. I think it's mostly defense. D-Men says Keely or Hyatt. Come on. Those are my guys right there, man. Those are my guys right there. If I had to pick, I really like Keely Ringo. I really like this guy. Bring another Georgia Bulldog in, man. Tall press man corner with excellent speed who matches up well with bigger wide receivers. Get more depth, man. Why not? You never know. You got to stay healthy, right? But you never know what's going to happen. I say get Keely Ringo. But I wouldn't be mad at Jair Brown. I wouldn't be mad at Jordan Battle. And I would not be mad at Hyatt. Or maybe they screw us all and they go tight end. Maybe they go Darnell Washington. It's going to be interesting, man. Guess we'll have to wait and see, man. Probably will be Ringo, all the Georgia Bulldogs. Jamie says, let's go. Jamie says O-line or DB. Woj says, I would probably take Clark Phillips over Ringo, but Ringo has potential, and that would be the better story. I think people are sleeping on Ringo. Did you see Nike on Twitter praising Giannis for losing the first round? Yeah, I did see that. That was crazy. Carlos's pick traded. Don't tell me the Eagles traded this pick. Did they? Or are you talking about the current pick? Hold up. Let's see. Wow. You're right. I knew it. I predicted it. I told you it was going to happen, man. I told you it was going to happen. The Eagles have traded out of the number 62 pick. I'm not sure what they got yet. Jeff McLean reporting the Eagles are trading out at number 62. I knew it was a possibility. Maybe they got Budda Baker. Who knows? Maybe they're going to pick at number 66. So it looks like they traded with the Houston Texans. We'll get some more information here in just a second. Maybe they don't like any of the guys on the board. We will get the updates here, but breaking news, the Eagles trading out of pick number 62. Darnell Washington, Keely Ringo, Georgia Bulldogs still on the board. Eagles decide to trade out of 62, but they're still right here at 66. I want to see what they got, though. I want to see what they got. Fred Taylor out here announcing the pick. Jags pick Brenton Strange. That's crazy. Darnell Washington's still on the board. They go Penn State. And now the Houston Texans are on the board. The Eagles traded the pick to the Houston Texans. And we're trying to find out here what the compensation was. Oh, wait, here we go. Here we go. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. It's all working out. Howie is the man. The Eagles now have 65 and 66. Yo, they got pick 188 and 230? Bro. They got 3 picks back for that? Yo. Howie Roseman continues to do this. I just don't understand how. I'm not giving up these picks to move up a couple slots like this. That is nuts. So what, 188 is what, in the 6th round? 5th round now? So the Eagles are just collecting more back-end picks. I like it. I like it. Let's see who the Texans pick. Juice Scruggs, center. Picked by the Texans, Penn State. They're going with the trenches again, man. Texans trying to build up front. Obviously, they got their quarterback now, but they got Anderson, they got Juice Scruggs, and they got C.J. Stroud. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. Do not go anywhere. We are coming up with back-to-back picks. If Howie Roseman goes with 2 Georgia Bulldogs, I'm going to lose my mind. Woj says 188 is a running back. I think later in the draft, they're going to go running back, trenches, and maybe linebacker. But obviously, the Texans gave up a ransom to move up. Howie says, you know, the guys they like are probably still going to be here on the board in a couple picks. And he says, okay, we're going to go with our guys. I got no problem with that. I have no problem with that. I'm surprised they gave up 188 and 230 to get up like that. Broncos are first team in NFL history to miss 7 straight playoffs after winning the Super Bowl. That is insane. Send them all to Arizona to get Budda Baker. That would be nuts. There's Sean Payton, new head coach for the Broncos, trying to get him back into winning. So now we got to wait 2 more picks, and then the Eagles have back-to-back. Here's the Denver pick. Here's the Broncos pick. So they go Marvin Mims. They get the wide receiver that we were just talking about a little while ago. So Marvin Mims off the board. 1 more pick by Chicago, and then the Eagles have back-to-back selections. Now you're really talking, though, man. Now you're talking. Go get me Ringo. Go get me Jalen Hyatt. Excuse me, Jair Brown. Go get me back-to-back, man. Get me back-to-back secondary pieces. Why not? Why not? Or go get me a wide receiver. I'll take that too. I'm surprised Hyde's still here, man. Explosive playmaker, burst to quickly eat up cushions in the second gear to get behind the coverage. They had a lot of coverage on him during the combine. Go get me Keely Ringo. Go get me Jair Brown. Why not? They could get Deuce Vaughn at 188. Maybe they go Chris Smith. Maybe they go another Georgia guy. Put it on ESPN2. You're a bit behind. I looked at ESPN and they took it over from the game. We'll go to ESPN2 though. Guess it was a little bit behind. All right, we're on ESPN2 now. 1:10 to go here on the clock for Chicago. Yeah, give me Keely Ringo and get me Jalen Hyatt. I'll take that all day. I like Jalen Hyatt a lot from watching him before the draft and the combine and some of his film. I like him a lot. Howie Roseman can seem to do no wrong right now. So we're going to see what happens here, but let me see if I can pull something up here. Here it is. By the way, Joey Porter Jr., a guy I really liked, he went off. He was the first pick in the round. In the second round, went to Pittsburgh. That was pretty cool. Here's what I wanted to pull up. So, A to Z film room, we got a little breakdown here on Jalen Hyatt. In case you want some more information on him. Some of his strengths. Elite track speed to threaten defenses vertically, attacks the ball in the air with arms fully extended, fluid accelerator with impressive control of his speed, establishes leverage points effectively on in-breaking routes, and led Power 5 wide receivers in touchdowns and yards per route run. He's a big deep threat, man. He's a big play type of receiver. NFL comp Will Fuller. I like him, man. Little speedy guy. Definitely would complement what the Eagles have right now. He would almost be like a Quez Watkins, but the problem is Quez can't hold on to the football sometimes. And it's starting to get to the point where it's becoming an issue, you know? I think we can pass on wide receiver. I want to give the Olympic guy Allen a chance as Cube. Carlos says salute to the vets. Salute to the vets out there. Everybody in the forces or anybody that has served. Thank you for your service. All right, let's see if we can get some more info on what the Eagles are thinking about here. Bears pick is in. They will be announcing here shortly, and then we'll have back-to-back picks for the Eagles. Once again, they pick up 188. They pick up 230. Could the Eagles actually take a quarterback with one of these picks? I don't think so, but Carlos says the Philly Superman that paints his faces everywhere. Yo, Carlos, we actually got that guy for some A to Z footage on the Instagram page. All right, Chicago goes with Zach Pickens, D tackle, and now the Eagles are on the board. Most of the players that I like are still here. Eagles should be looking at secondary if they think that these guys, might not make it much further, but they have 2 picks to play with. So the Eagles are on the board. Not going to be looking at much of the chat right now. No spoilers. But like I said, Keely Ringo. Guy I really like. Get another Georgia Bulldog. Why not? Maybe Jair Brown, maybe Jalen Hyatt. I could see them going with one of these positions. I could see one of these picks being in the trenches as well. I could see one of these picks being in the trenches as well. But Howie has a plan here because he would not have traded back to go back-to-back. He's going to get a combo here. He's going to get a combo here. I'm excited to see what he does. Everything the Eagles have right now in terms of need, they can fulfill. They can go a lot of different ways with these two picks. Eagles can go a lot of different ways with these two picks. You think they would actually go linebacker here? I don't know. I think they're going with safety for one of these picks, and I would guess, if I had to predict, in the trenches for the other one. First pick is already in for the Philadelphia Eagles. Here we go. Mel's needs DN, D tackle, safety, running back, and guard. I think they're going in the secondary. Here we go. Mel's best available, number 5, Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. Cedric Tillman as well. Of course, they put on a commercial. Welcome on in, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Hit that thumbs up. We're reacting live to the Eagles draft. They traded back from number 62. They're at pick 65. And they also have 66 from yesterday's trade. So let's see what they do here. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I would guess that they're going one pick here with the secondary, and I think the other one will be either an offensive lineman or defensive lineman. That would be my prediction, but I could see them going tight end. Could you imagine if they get Darnell Washington and then a safety, both from Georgia? Could you imagine? The guy I really want is Keely Ringo. That's the guy I really want. But I'll be happy with Hyde. I'll be happy with Jair Brown. I'll be happy with any of them, to be honest. It's not a dying need right now. The Eagles team, their roster is set. They're just looking to add more depth. So, shout out to everyone here in the house, man. We'll be reacting here live. Let's see when they come back here with the pick. I'm surprised Howie was able to pull off a couple extra picks just to move up a couple slots. I mean, he is pulling off heist left and right. Boy, oh boy, man. Boy, oh boy. So they moved back into the third round. Texans took Juice Scruggs. Here we go. Who will the Eagles take back to back? Pick 65 and pick 66. They're probably already working on the next pick. They have a chance to really, really get some good playmakers here, some good depth. Mel's best available, Trenton Simpson out of Clemson, inside linebacker. Drew Sanders, inside linebacker. Arkansas, Darnell Washington, tight end out of Georgia. It wouldn't surprise me if they went tight end here. It would not surprise me one bit. Don't go with Hendon Hooker. Why are they showing him here on TV? Don't scare me like this. Coming off the injury and everything. Why are they showing him like this? What are they trying to say here? What are they trying to say here? There's the Eagles draft room. They look pumped. Howie's once again fist bumping the whole room. Howie is grinding right now. Jeff Florey's having a nice talk with this guy. I don't know what's going on here. Eagles pick coming up, number 65. Let's see who it is. No, I'm not looking at anything. He's like, I'm about to get 2 players that I like. Here we go. The Eagles pick has been in for 10 hours. Let's get him on the stage. Come on. And then we're right back at it as soon as they announce his pick. Look at all these Eagle fans, man. Repping big. Showing out. Here we go. Let's go, man. Got the Eagles chant. I love this, man. Shout out to Trent Cole, by the way. Tyler Steen, a guard out of Alabama. Howie does it again. I told you, he's going for the big schools, man. Whoa, 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 whoa. They're announcing the other one. Sidney Brown, DB out of Illinois. That is a Sidney Brown, Illinois. That is a solid pick, man. Illinois had a really, really good defense. One of the best in the nation, actually. I told you it was going to happen. I told you they were going safety and in the trenches. I told you they were going safety and in the trenches, and that is exactly what they did. I didn't expect them to announce both of them like that, but the Eagles at 65 and 66 go out and they get Sidney Brown out of Illinois. Let me pull it up so you guys can see it as well. Let me pull it up. Sidney Brown with the 66 overall pick, and they go with Tyler Steen out of Alabama. Let's pull up the draft board. That's a solid job by Howie Roseman. There we go. Sidney Brown was still one of the best available. I like this a lot. Tyler Steen out of Alabama. Once again, they love going up front from Alabama. You look at Dickerson. You look at some of these other guys they've gotten in here. And Illinois was one of the best defenses in the country. Right? Look at Witherspoon. Like, that defense carried this year. I'm happy, man. This is exactly what I wanted. Trench depth and something on the back end. So I'm happy. And the Eagles pick up a couple more picks in the trade. So seems to me like a killer draft so far by Howie Roseman. Seems to me to be a killer draft. It's funny, they tend to go Alabama for offensive players, and they go defense for Georgia players. I like this, man. So they address the secondary. Now I'm looking at linebacker. Maybe another piece in the secondary. I think these are quality picks, man. Give me your thoughts. Give me your reactions down in the chat. What do you make of these picks? Give me some thoughts, man. Drew Sanders, the linebacker, goes the next pick to the Denver Broncos. Let's see. Sean says there is Lane Johnson's replacement. Woj says Sidney Brown. Jamie says O-line and DB. I want that. Woj says taking Steen is why they felt okay about trading down. Yeah, exactly. They knew he would be there. The Texans wanted a lineman, just a different one. Jermaine says, I like the picks. Howie is a wizard. Joseph says, Howie is the man. Derek says, looks like a dynasty to me. To be honest, I mean, can't complain. Can't complain. They got the guys they wanted, right? I mean, they got back-to-back picks. They addressed areas of need, right? Because you look at the offensive line, and, you know, Kelsey's probably going to be out of here after next year. Lane is only getting older. Sayamalo left, so you address that need, and you already have guys who are waiting in the flesh. Then you go and look at your secondary. You lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson. What do? You pick up a safety. I mean, he's just having a great draft. He does the things that make sense now. He does the things that make sense. He wasn't doing that years ago. He's having a good draft. All I know is that Illinois had a really good year defensively. They were one of the best in the nation. They were one of the best in the nation. And they never had a first-round pick, I believe. Because I remember we were talking about Witherspoon. And, you know, like I said, Howie likes to draft now from the programs that have success. So I'm happy with it. Witherspoon went yesterday, went 5th overall to the Seattle Seahawks. Let's see. Bet says great picks at 65 and 66. Derek, thank you for that, man. Jamie says don't know much about these guys, but they are positions of need. Like I said, when you get to the mid rounds, I mean, you hear little bits about these guys. You see them, you know, go through their combine stuff, but you know, you don't have you can't really predict which of these guys are going to be a diamond in the rough. So I like it, man. Tyler Steen, 6'6", 320 pounds, plays left tackle. I'm telling you, Howie will always revert to the trenches. He will always revert to getting those big muscle guys up front because it's what the Eagles have done and it has worked. It has worked because even if one of the guys don't pan out, guess what? You got other ones coming in. You got Jordan Mailata, who comes from Australia and plays rugby. Look at what he's done. So I'm happy with the picks. And I think now you got more competition in the back end. You look at Edmonds, you look at Justin Evans, who they signed, and now you got Sidney Brown, Reed Blankenship. You can still go on and add. Maybe you go and make a trade for Budda Baker. Who knows? But I'm happy. I'm happy so far. And now you pick up pick 188 and pick 230. So now they're back into the 5th round. Or I'm sorry, no, not the 5th round, the 6th round. There they are in the 6th round. So they had a couple 7th round picks. And now they pick up another one. So they're at 230. They're at 219. And they're at 248. So they got 3 on the back end in the 7th round. And now they're in the 6th round as well. So I would expect to see more depth guys there as well. Probably linebackers, you know, secondary, pieces like that. Maybe a wide receiver, running back, potentially. So really just an A-plus draft for me, in my opinion. I cannot be mad whatsoever. So we got Elliot Shore Parks, who tweets here. I'll pull this up so you guys can see it. Sidney Brown, the safety they just drafted out of Illinois, played mostly in the box last season. So you can move him around. He has experience lining up at the nickel. It's always good to have versatile defenders, man. Always good to have defenders that you can move all around the field. So I'm happy. Wow, the Lions took Hendon Hooker. They took him. Quarterback out of Tennessee going to the Detroit Lions. So they don't take Will Levis yesterday or today. They go and take Hendon Hooker, the potential replacement for Jared Goff eventually. Okay. Shout out to Josh Talentino here. Eagles draft Illinois safety Sidney Brown with the 66th overall pick. Good value. 23-year-old who earned all Big Ten first team honors on the nation's top scoring defense with 6 interceptions and 7 passes defended. I love it, man. Seems like a guy who can move all around the field. Like I said, Illinois had the best defense, one of the best in the nation. And they go and get an offensive tackle from Alabama, who those guys are always tanks. I mean, I'm happy with it. Good picks, in my opinion. Good picks, in my opinion. We'll hang on here for a couple more minutes, and then we'll call it a day because, I mean, the Eagles don't pick, till the 6th round. According to Elliott Shore Parks, Pro Football Focus calls Sidney Brown the, quote, single best athlete in this safety class. Obviously not a deep safety class, but a lot of high praise for Sidney Brown. And I just saw this here as well from Brendan Deeg. Let me pull this up so you guys can see it. Tyler Steen has only allowed 2 sacks in 498 pass block snaps protecting Bryce Young. Great move to get much needed depth at the tackle position. Philly Tree says he's a ball hawk who reminds me of Hufanga. So you got 2 good players, man. 2 good players. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. You got Dickerson, you got Driscoll. Hey, man. It's in Howie's blood. It's in his blood. Jaybird says going to be a good year for the Birds. I mean, again, when you look at this draft, I don't think anybody's sweating it too much because they already have their talent locked in. They know their roster is going to be a Super Bowl formidable team. But, adding some more of these depth pieces for the future is just huge, and it just makes sense, So I'm happy with it. Well, there he goes, man. Texans actually aren't doing too bad in this draft. Tank Dell off the board. He's now a Houston Texan, and Texans have had a pretty good draft, in my opinion. They've had a pretty good draft. Let's see. Billy Tree says, did he play with Landon Dickerson, Tyler Steen? I believe he did. Do we have a 4th round pick? I would like a running back early tomorrow. The Eagles do not pick now until the 6th round. So they have a 6th round pick that they just acquired and 3 7th round picks. They could always move back up. You never know. But as of right now, they are done until the late rounds. Oh, no, that's right. Tyler Steen, he played with Alabama this past year. He was actually a transfer. He was a transfer from Vanderbilt. So, no, he did not play with Landon Dickerson. But he definitely blossomed into much more than he would have been at Vanderbilt. Jamie says no more picks for a while. This guy's a monster, though. 320 pounds. Raiders are on the board. Here's what Elliot Shore Parks put on Twitter. He says 2 sacks and 498 pass block snaps last year. 3,057 career snaps at left and right tackle. Projects as an offensive guard. He can play OT if needed, but has physical tools to be a guard option as well, which is definitely key, given where the Eagles are at with that position. Like his experience, great backup for 2023 and a potential starter after. Speaking my language, man. Speaking my language. And then we got Sidney Brown. Shore Park says Sidney Brown forced turnovers during his 5 years at Illinois, 10 interceptions total, and 4 forced fumbles in 50 college games. And once again, Illinois was one of the best defenses in the nation. So that's why I was really high on Devon Witherspoon, but he went high in the draft. But yeah, the Eagles picked up some dogs here on the second day. I like how Howie traded back, got a couple more picks, and, you know, really yesterday was the cream of the crop, right? Getting Jalen Carter, getting Nolan Smith, that was huge. Like, those were two of the guys I really wanted for the Eagles. Never in my right mind would have thought they picked up both of them. But they get those two, they get some help in the secondary, and they get more help on the offensive line. So, in my opinion, it's a 4 for 4 right now. There's no pick that I look at and I go, uh-oh, like this is just not smart at all. So, that being said, though, man, it looks like the Eagles are going to be done for today unless they make another trade. Derek says, what do you think of our new defensive coordinator? I like all the things I've heard about him. Good mentor, good leader, you know, wants to be more aggressive, hopefully, than a Jonathan Gannon. And he has some roots in the Philadelphia area, obviously from Temple, and, you know, kind of gets the vibe of the city. Until I see it, though, on the field, I can't really make an opinion either way. But I like the things that I've heard. It does suck, you know, having to get 2 new coordinators after going to the Super Bowl, but I'm glad that Jonathan Gannon is gone. I was never a big Gannon guy. I started to believe in the playoffs, but he showed his true colors in the Super Bowl. I was really high on Shane Steichen, but I feel more comfortable with, you know, with moving on to a new OC. Not that I wanted to. Obviously, I'm happy for Shane Steichen getting a head coaching job, but Brian Johnson has way too many ties with Jalen Hurts. I'm not concerned one bit. And this guy, you know, has been around the system. He understands it, and, you know, he knows Jalen Hurts. So I think the offensive side of the ball will be just fine. Brian Johnson will call plays, so we'll see how that goes. The defensive side, I'm definitely more worried about because both of the last Eagle coordinators are not guys that like to bring pressure. Will Sean Desai be different? You have all these playmakers, and I know the Eagles had one of the best defensive statistics seasons ever, but honestly, there could have been more. They have so many playmakers, and you know, they got to use all their pieces. So that's how I feel. I want to see it. I want to see how Sean Desai leads some of these guys. I think he'll move guys like Reddick around and, you know, hopefully provide more versatility for the defense because they were already damn good based off of talent alone. Philly Tree says Steen can play to go from Vanderbilt and dominate at Alabama like that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He had a monster year. I'm telling you, that's what these big schools do. They just transform you into a grown man. I love it. But anyway, I think we're going to get out of here, man. Appreciate everybody hanging out here on the second night of the draft, round 2 and 3. We'll continue to provide all the coverage here on A to Z Philly. There's not much more to say here today unless the Eagles were to trade up, but yeah, we'll continue to bring the videos, the live streams, all that coverage. Got a lot of good things in store. Be sure to check us out on Instagram. Definitely check out the Instagram page. And be sure to follow me on Twitter as well to stay updated with all the coverage. But other than that, man, appreciate everybody for coming through. Appreciate everybody coming through, man. Probably going to go watch some the rest of this draft, but NBA, MLB, all of it's on tonight, man. Should be a good weekend. And we'll hear from some of the new Eagle players probably sometime tonight, as well as Howie Roseman. So we'll see how it goes, man. Once again, A to Z Philly NFL Draft Special. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you all have a great rest of the weekend. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.